And right now at 6, we're talking toppled trees and debris. It's a big cleanup effort as the Bay Area braces for more heavy rain and strong winds.
And when the electricity goes, I have no cell reception. And that's true for most of the coast.
How people in coastal parts of San Mateo County are dealing with the wet and windy weather. Also, rain in the Bay means snow in the Sierra. A look at the conditions and what you need to know if you're planning on traveling this weekend.
The devastation is on full display as flooding and mudslides sweep through Southern California. I'm Gwen Baumgartner with a look at the Christmas conditions that have prompted evacuations and a state of emergency order.
And as food insecurity grows, one San Francisco institution is making sure no one goes hungry this Christmas.
This is CBS News Bay Area with Juliette Goodrich.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us on this Christmas evening. Hopefully you are staying inside tonight as another round of heavy rain and strong winds hit the Bay Area. Now take a look at this. It has been a huge day for the Bay Area and crews cleaning up, dealing with downed trees and debris and flooding. And if we zoom in on the peninsula, thousands are still without power, and for some, electricity may not be restored until later this evening. Amanda Harry has been out and about, spoke with residents in Half Moon Bay who are still dealing with both the storms and ongoing outages.
I was here yesterday, and I would say that the wind, the rain, the waves, all of it is a lot worse. And another issue has been the electricity. It was out all day yesterday, came back on for a little bit, and then it was out again. This traffic light was out when I was here yesterday, and again, it is out, just making the flow of traffic a little more difficult. A dreary and dark Christmas for many people throughout the Bay Area, especially for those in and around Half Moon Bay.
Don't make me cry. It's very hard.
Donna Diamond lives in Montera, but drove down to El Granada to watch the waves and get out of the house. She has no electricity for the second time in as many days.
Wednesday morning at 1, and then it's been out until 5 o'clock last night, and then it went out again at 1 o'clock this morning, and it's still out and probably will not be back until 11.
Without electricity, there's not much she can do. And she says this time of year, it happens often.
The weather often knocks out the electricity, and when the electricity goes, I have no cell reception. And that's true for most of the coast. I'm on a well, so I haven't taken a shower, sorry. And you can't flush too many times until the electricity comes back.
Amr Salahi also has been dealing with no electricity, but he's looking on the bright side.
Well, I have free time.
He gathered up his gear to spend his Christmas kite surfing.
Because it's outdoors, it's so much fun, and it's windy, and I can get on my gear.
And he wasn't the only one. Dozens of kite surfers were out taking on the big waves. Meanwhile, Diamond was just grateful she was able to get out of the house and be around people.
And the weather's been so bad that I haven't wanted to drive to friends' house. I've had a couple friends offer me, to bug out, but the weather's just been horrible.
She's hoping for a long-term Christmas miracle. Infrastructure changes so they're not in the dark as often.
What I hope is long range, they actually do something about the overall situation out here. Because if people read about it, it's really, I think, political and really complicated, and we need to get it fixed.
According to PG&E, they say there is no timetable for when people in this area will be getting their power back, but crews will be out as soon as it's safe to do so.
Amanda, thank you so much. As we get into the evening hours, we're certainly tracking the possibility of thunderstorms. So I want to get right to meteorologist Darren Peck. He's been running around all over the place. I know you've been tracking this since the morning hours. Yeah. What's going on now?
Well, we have to update the terminology now.
Sure.
Severe thunderstorms, yes.
Okay.
One of them coming into the southern part of San Mateo County. The radar's detected rotation on it, which can happen with these, but it's the first sign that this perhaps could produce a funnel cloud. So in light of that, the National Weather Service has actually issued a tornado warning for part of southern San Mateo County. This is just about 20 miles to the southeast of Boulder Creek. You kind of see it when you're looking on the virtual map here, but we need to get a lot more detailed than that. And I want to pull up the monitor. We're going to come in for a close-up look and spotlight that warning. So you see the complex of thunderstorms, which has been working its way towards the bay. We started talking about this about 2 hours ago. We went on air and said there was a complex of thunderstorms coming our way that would be here primarily between about 5 o'clock and 8 o'clock. That would have the ability to give us some severe thunderstorm warnings. And with the intensity that these storms have, it is not unheard of for the radar to be able to detect on some of these cells. And it can be kind of difficult to tell where you are, but we're right off the coastline here. And you can see where Saratoga is over here in the Santa Clara Valley. This goes clear across to the other side of the Santa Cruz Mountains. The National Weather Service has put this red box on here for the location of greatest concern. So here's Half Moon Bay. This is about 20 to 30 miles down the coast from there, kind of as you're heading on your way down towards Davenport. And when you look at the signature out here, this is almost certainly what they're seeing. You got a little bit of it's very subtle to pick out the details on a radar image like that, but they're little hook images. And with that in mind, knowing what that can, that's telling you that there's rotation in that thunderstorm. Without having eyewitnesses on this, no one has seen or confirmed a funnel cloud or damage. They're doing this based on radar with safety first in mind. Better to be safe than sorry. Anybody who's been with us for forecasts over the last several winters, this happens. We've done this several times. Now, the last one last winter was Scotts Valley. That one did touch down last winter, flipped over a car. It was a big story down there. So we're very much on heightened awareness of the potential for these. And we know that the ingredients are available for storms like this to come together. So if you take a look at the locator on there, go ahead and get a close-up look at that monitor for me. Little community there of Butano Park. And if you know this part of the Santa Cruz Mountains, there's a real pretty state park down there. That is the state park. And this is kind of in the vicinity of that. So it's very rural out here. It's not like this is a highly populated area, thankfully, first and foremost. But these are the signatures. I know it's subtle to look at that and you go, what's he talking about? But there's just enough of a feature on there. Could be the one back here as well. It could even be the one already in the box. But oftentimes what they'll do is they'll try to get ahead of these things and they'll outline a little polygon on the landscape for where people need to be aware of where the greatest concern is on this. So you can see where that box is. Boy, it's a big complex down here. Most of the Santa Cruz Mountains right now, whether you're in that box or not, you're getting a real heavy downpour and almost certainly small hail to go along with this. And in the vicinity of any of these, you're going to have strong winds. Primarily, what most locations are experiencing here would be what we would term straight line winds. In other words, the thunderstorms are just strong enough, the winds are coming down and they're spreading out in a straight direction. This would be different. In this box here would be a bit more severe than that. So when we get tornadoes, we get them rarely, but we do get them. They are almost always on the absolute lowest end of the scale. We rate them, EF1, EF2. EF1s and EF2s are what we've seen. You can get wind speeds up to around 100 miles an hour in that situation, in the very center of that tightly wound funnel cloud. What happened last year in Scotts Valley was almost a fluke because you had that very narrow funnel come down right in the middle of a commercial district. So that, of course, had a pretty big impact. And the pictures were pretty impressive of cars turned over. It was a big story we were covering at length last year. But I only bring that up as the example because these things are so narrow. And this is such a rural part of the county and Santa Cruz Mountains that anybody within the vicinity of this certainly has to take this very seriously. But from an overall grand threat scheme, this is not like we're in Oklahoma in June. These storms are not really capable of producing the kind of destruction most people would think of when you hear tornado warning. That does not happen in California. These are very localized. If you're right in that box, you got to take it seriously. But thankfully, there's not too much in that box. All right, that's just the focus for where we are now. We're going to keep tracking the tornado warning. Plus, we got to talk about the rest of the bay. We all have a chance for some pretty intense thunderstorms from now through the remainder of tonight. So I guess we'll be back with that coming up in a complete forecast in just a few minutes. But for now, Juliet, back to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for tracking all of that. We've seen a fair share of damage from these storms today. A tree crashed into a home in Oakland and then brought down power lines. PG&E crews are busy clearing debris and restoring the lines. The tree damaged the roof and walls of the home. Fortunately, no one was hurt on this Christmas Day, but PG&E says about 30 homes lost power as a direct result. And then we're seeing power outages from these winter storms across the Bay Area. So this is a live look at PG&E's outage map, and you can see the dots up and down the region representing tens of thousands of customers who are still in the dark this evening. All right, we take you to Southern California now. It is also feeling the brunt of the storm in the form of flash flooding and mudslides. They have triggered evacuations in mountain communities. Governor Gavin Newsom declared a state of emergency in 6 counties. Gwen Baumgartner has the story.
Muddy floodwater swamped the town of Wrightwood in San Bernardino County, California. Homeowners woke to rivers running through their properties and neighbors trapped on rooftops.
We walked as far as we could without getting swept up in the water and saw that there were people that my neighbors that were on top of their roof, 3 people on top of the roof.
With roads overflowing, officials ordered residents to shelter in place.
This was a warm storm, so we didn't get any snow. Everything that fell continued to roll down the hillsides, so that contributed to the mud, the debris flows, and the impact.
Areas scorched during this year's wildfires are once again at the eye of the storm. Torrential rain pelted construction sites where homeowners are rebuilding. CBS News had cameras rolling when this mudslide raced down the Altadena foothills. Instead of absorbing rain, burned soil acts as a repellent, triggering rivers of mud. And you can see here where tons of that mud swamped the road all the way to the barriers. In just the last 2 days, areas of Southern California have seen more than 12 inches of rain. The storms are the result of atmospheric rivers carrying moisture from the tropics. North of San Francisco, water rescue teams were busy.
People drive around road closed signs and they think they can drive through the water. And what happens, they end up getting stuck, flood out their engine, and then we have to come save them.
And this Christmas deluge is far from over. Additional downpours are expected on and off through Friday, bringing as much as another 5 inches of rain.
It is up and down California. We go from Southern California to the Sierra, the winter storm delivering snow across the region. Residents and holiday travelers are warned to take precautions out on the roadways. In fact, chain controls are in effect for Highway 50 and Interstate 80 with snow covering both major routes. So you can see the icy roads, hazy skies. They are making travel difficult. Drivers are urged to avoid heading up the mountain if possible. Snowfall is expected to continue through tomorrow. And stay with us for continuing coverage of these storms. We'll keep you updated on the air and on the free CBS News app and on KPIX.com. Still ahead, right here at 6 o'clock, as food insecurity grows, one San Francisco institution is making sure no one goes hungry this Christmas.
All right, let's come back to the latest information on the possibility of there is a tornado warning for parts of southeastern San Mateo County. I'm going to show you where that is on the map, show you where the concern is. We'll talk about how very localized that is. And then we'll look at the big picture, because even though there is a lot of excitement going on right now down here with that tornado warning, the rest of us also have a fair share of intense weather that's coming tonight. Severe thunderstorms could be possible, flooding for your part of the bay wherever you happen to be. But let's get to item number 1. I've got to pull up the more detailed look. And we're going to pull up the latest high-resolution radar imagery that's going to allow us to really nail down to this part of the Santa Cruz Mountains. It's that southwestern side of San Mateo County. So lots of red boxes start showing up here. It's going to be hard to get your bearings for where you are, but we're going to fly this around and you're going to be able to see exactly where we are. This is that part of the coastline south of Half Moon Bay. Half Moon Bay sits up here. It's like you're going down towards Davenport, if you know where that really cool concrete decaying pier is. This would be somewhat near there, but there's this beautiful state park up here, Butano or Butano. Forgive me if I'm saying that wrong. I've heard it said both ways by people. Sits up through here. This is the polygon that the National Weather Service has issued. They did this right before we went on the air at 6 o'clock. And the reason they did it is because of that. When you look at radar signatures like this, oftentimes there is a telltale sign if one of these thunderstorms has started to rotate. You can pick out a pattern. It's referred to as a hook echo. It's highly detailed. It can be tough to pick it out when you're looking at radar at a resolution like this. But this is coming from the National Weather Service on Mount Umunhum here in the Santa Cruz Mountains, operated, maintained directly by the National Weather Service, and they've got the ability to look at degrees and channels of that with far more clarity. They were able to see enough concern in what they believed was the detection of rotation here that they put out the tornado warning for the polygon here, and you can see the state park kind of sits right in the middle there. So looking for a hook echo is one way to locate these. Another way, you can look at something called velocity, but it's not really helpful in this situation. The mountains are really a problem in terms of the radar's ability to visualize this. That radar sits right up about here, a little bit farther down the Santa Cruz Mountains that way. There's a lot of terrain, and this is downhill. So you're not really able to pick it up in the old school traditional way that you'd like to be able to spot a specific location. But if you just look at the intensity of that cell, that's the one they're concerned about. Perspective on this is important. I said this last time. We can get hurricanes here in Northern California, and anybody who's been around for the last several winters remembers this. We've had them almost every winter now. Something like this happens. Last winter was an excellent example of that in Scotts Valley. We had an EF1. It was able to turn over some cars. But the thing to remember about these are, this is on the very low end. These are EF1s. The scale goes to 5. EF1s can produce 100-mile-an-hour winds. It can do damage in a very localized way. And this is very rural out here. So when you hear tornado warning, obviously we're not used to that. The image comes to mind of what we see happen in Oklahoma. And that is not this. This is far less severe, far smaller on scale. Having said that, anybody who is in that polygon of a very rural area should take this very seriously, and things like get to interior spaces, make sure you're staying away from windows, all of the things that I think hopefully would instinctually come to mind if you happen to know you were in a polygon for a tornado warning. The problem with this is it's hard to get the messaging out. A lot of people out there probably are not checking in on this right now, but they certainly know there's a lot of rain and there's probably some hail. It's windy. Regardless of whether or not that's a funnel cloud that has touched the ground, these thunderstorms are capable of producing strong wind on their own, and that's being felt throughout the Santa Cruz Mountains. All right, this is the area we'll keep an eye on. If there are any updates on that, we will come back to it, but that's all the information we have on that for now. So I want to move on and get you ready for the rest of the bay for the next 4 hours. This line of thunderstorms is going to continue moving across and delivering brief intensity rain that the roads are going to become problematic wherever you are. We're probably going to encounter some ponding of water on roadways. And really, this is the main event from now through like 9 o'clock tonight. If you look at what the radar is detecting out here in lightning, it's not able to go far enough out off the coast. The radar beam can't go that far. So if we want to see all the rain that goes along with that lightning, we can switch to the latest high-resolution forecast models because it's able to visualize that. There's still a lot more rain out here to go. This is clearly a main event right now. There's a very well-organized line slicing right through the bay. It comes in through that southern branch of the Santa Cruz Mountains where that localized tornado warning is. But that same line extends all the way up through the heart of the bay and inland. It's probably going to be heavy rain. You shouldn't be worried that we're going to see tornado warnings along that entire line. These are usually very isolated events. But the fact that it is the same line tells you, for the rest of us who are, this is like Central Bay, you're going to have some heavy downpours with it. Probably get some small hail. Lightning and thunder are possible. And that line is going to continue to march its way east. Here we are at 7 o'clock. We will continue to watch this very closely since it does already now have a verified history of inspiring the National Weather Service to put out a tornado warning for detected rotation. Nothing has been seen or verified. It's strictly going off the radar. I want to stress that. But that still is an important way of seeing these things. Oftentimes, the only way we can see these things, there's nobody out there. So all that in mind, that's our line by 8 o'clock. Now, at that point, it's going to be the Central Valley's problem. And we're kind of quiet in the North Bay at that point, but we're not done. As we let this play through tonight, you'll see follow-up lines are going to continue to come through. This is the main one. That's the big hit and the big event of the night. Not to say we're going to be done. There's going to be more rain, on again, off again showers that will come through for the remainder of tonight. There will be isolated thunderstorms within that period, but it won't be like what we've got going on right now. Here's the rainfall, just from the standpoint of not a good time to be on the road. The flood watch, Bay Area wide. The worst time's going to be tonight. If you can stay off the road, you will benefit from that. You can see this big bloom of clouds right here. This is part of the reason we've got so much energy over us right now. And we're just waiting for that to pass, and we've got to give that a little more time. If we play through, I want you to see this. Faster from tonight. Here's tomorrow. Isolated showers. Plenty of breaks of blue sky tomorrow. We're already looking at Friday at 9 in the morning. Here comes another line of rain. That will clear. And then it's tough to see it, but there is the center of circulation of the whole area of low pressure. Very different from looking at it on a small funnel cloud scale. We looked for that circulation because we need that thing to clear and the storm will be over. And that's going to happen on Saturday. Friday, you're still going to have some scattered showers to get through. We are not going to be done entirely until Saturday. But Saturday, blue sky, you're going to be able to get out, and this storm will be done. It will be history, and we get a nice long break. I don't see another chance for rain again until January 1st. Technically, on the day, January 1st, is the next time it looks like we could have another system from the Pacific. It doesn't look crazy significant like this one, but it could be more rain to start 2026. More on that down the road. We're going to keep watching that. I'll let you know what the update is from the National Weather Service. If they've allowed that tornado warning to expire, I'll get the updated information on that. Juliette, back to you.
All right, appreciate it, Darren. Thank you. And still ahead, a sheriff's deputy has quite the story to tell after pulling over Santa. San Francisco has over 8,000 people currently unhoused, according to their most recent point-in-time report. And nearly 70% of the city's low-income population is dealing with food insecurity. St. Anthony's Foundation is doing their part this holiday. They're serving over 1,500 meals to people in need in the Tenderloin at their Christmas dinner. Our Itai Hod got a glimpse of the celebration.
Today, in homes across America, vegetables are getting chopped, food is being stirred, and cooks are preparing a meal for the people they love. But in one San Francisco kitchen, Efrain Gomez is creating a feast for those who don't have a table to go home to.
We have here is the Korean style chicken. We have the flatbread here that we made in-house, our fresh cookies that we make in-house also. And believe it or not, we do not grow our own bananas.
Gomez is the chef at St. Anthony's Foundation, a 75-year-old Tenderloin institution serving people in need.
We have about 1,700 pieces of chicken.
This is his first Christmas in charge, and in just a few minutes, about 2,500 meals will move through this space. The menu is big, but this day means more than just food. Long before he was running this kitchen, Gomez relied on it. After years of alcohol and drug addiction, St. Anthony's is where he got back on his feet.
It was a struggle. I still, to this day, it's not easy.
Go ahead, sir. As food insecurity grows, more and more people are coming through these doors, driven by rising costs and fewer safety nets.
We call the people who come and access our services guests.
Laura Flanagan, St. Anthony's COO, says the number of Christmas meals has almost doubled in the last 2 years. But she insists this isn't a soup kitchen.
These are chefs who really take pride in trying new recipes.
John Kumagai, a retired baker from Hawaii, is a regular.
Service is good here.
It's
how many
very good.
stars would you give them?
The total, how many stars?
The most you can give is 5 stars.
Okay. I just give the 4 star.
But 5 stars for those who spend their holiday not just serving food, but serving people.
And watch your fingers. Don't watch me, watch your fingers. What are you doing? There you go.
Our Food for Bay Area Families initiative continues this holiday season. Scan the QR code on your screen right now or head to kpix.com/give. There you'll be able to donate food or funds or your time to food banks across the Bay Area. Be sure to join us for our holiday special. It starts at 7 o'clock on KPIX and streaming on the free CBS News app. When we come back, this is probably the last person a sheriff's deputy expected to see on the roadway. Why this Santa was pulled over. Whoa. Okay, so check this out. A sheriff's deputy in Ohio almost ended up on the naughty list after he caught Santa speeding through his deliveries. Take a look.
Santa, do you have your driver's license out? Can I get out? You sure can.
Oh, the Fulton County Sheriff's Office pulled over Santa and Mrs. Claus late last night to ask them to slow down. The jolly couple was on their way to surprise children at their daughter's work. The Sheriff's Office confirmed no coal was issued, just a friendly reminder that even sleighs need to slow down. All right, want to bring back Darren Peck because we have some good news to report. You can get out of your basements if you've been hunkered in, right?
For that little corner down there in the Santa Cruz Mountains,
Yes.
Tornado warning expired.
Okay.
In fact, it probably even happened while I was on air last talking about it. So good news on that.
Sure.
We're not out of the woods. There's still a lot going on here, and this line of pretty intense rain is going to be with us through the night. Stay on top of this. We'll be back at 8 o'clock. We'll have an update. Anything serious or significant breaks out, you can also check in on the stream. We'll keep you updated there as well. Check in with the National Weather Service as well.
Yeah, quite a storm as well. But that's so rare to even have those warnings. And so we appreciate you reporting that. And now coast is clear.
thankfully. For now, yeah.
For now. All right, CBS Evening News is next. Local news continues on our streaming service, CBS News Bay Area. Be sure to join us for our holiday special Food for Bay Area families, Stories of Hope, tonight at 7 o'clock. Darren's going to go carbo load. Have some pasta because you are working overtime today. Thanks so much for your coverage.
It's a good idea.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Have a good one. See you at 7.